Hello everyone, welcome to episode 51 of Talk Wrestling here on the new MySpace page at No DQ Talk Wrestling. Also youtube.com/NoDQCAW and Rift's MySpace, I believe, myspace.com/AaronRift. And if you're watching this on NoDQ.com, we thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get right to your questions today. There will be no Noah talk today, regardless of what he says, regardless of what he's done. No Noah talk today. I'm a happy boy today because 50 went so well. 50 was so well received that we're going to go to 51 and have a good old time today. All right. Nick the Destroyer, what is your favorite WWF/WWE match of all time? I should have been thinking about this all night. I actually saw this question last night. I've been thinking about it all night. I kind of slept on it. I was like, okay, I'm going to decide in the morning. And then I woke up early and caught the early bus out here. Probably... See, I should have thought about this. Hogan and Rock from WrestleMania 18, because that was Hulk's big comeback match. The Rock was at his best. Hulk was very much well done. His match was very well done, despite his injuries to his knee and his ribs and all the injuries he accumulated in the previous 20 years plus. He is one of the best, if not the best. And Rock was phenomenal that night. They both did so well. They reacted to the crowd the way the crowd wanted them to react. Hogan was the heel going in, but he played to the crowd. The Rock played the heel very well. It's just an overall well-presented match. If I had to pick a close second, it'd be Stone Cold versus The Rock from the previous WrestleMania 17 in Houston, where Stone Cold turned heel, aligned himself with Vince, and won the WWF Championship from The Rock. Those two are my top two of all-time favorites. My all-time favorite finish of a match, ending of a match, not necessarily the whole finish, just the ending of a match, was Rob Van Dam, 5-star frog splash on John Cena, 1, 2, 3, Rob becomes WWE Champion. This is from Terrence Darnell West. Just wondered, when taking a look at the current free agents list, do you think there are enough quality wrestlers and a mix of promising talent to start and build a new federation around Hulk Hogan as the main face? There's been talk for a long time about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and them starting their own fed against Vince, against TNA, and having this happen. I just happened to go look at the WWE alumni page on the Wikipedia and who's been fired from them recently. If you take all these guys here and a lot of the other indie feds around the country, you've got a lot of people.
Aaron Aguilera, Manu, Buff Bagwell, The Bashams, Cole Cabana, D'Lo, Armando Estrada, Elijah Burke, Domino from Deuce and Domino, Mikey from the Spirit Squad, Monty Brown, Nova, Sabu, Rob Conway, Rene Dupree, Sylvain Grenier, Kid Cash, Rico, A-Train, Bull Buchanan, Hardcore Holly, Kevin Thorne, Kenny Dykstra, The Highlanders, Mabel/Viscera/Big Daddy V, whatever you want to call him, Chris Harris from TNA and WWE, Roadkill and Danny Dorian, Eugene, Sandman, Scotty Too Hottie, Grandmaster Sexy, Gangrel, Heidenreich, Juventude, Psychosis, and Super Crazy, Spike Dudley, Billy Kidman, Rikishi, David Flair, Reed Flair, Scott Hall, Van Mealy, Val Venus, Paul London, Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, Orlando Jordan, Stevie Richards, Nunzio, Shannon Moore, Bobby Lashley, Johnny Jeter, Chris Masters, Mitch from the Spirit Squad, Mark Jindrak, remember Mark Jindrak? Ken Shamrock, Chuck Palumbo, Balls Mahoney, Sean O'Hare, Snifky, the Shane Twins, Jim and I, for those of you who don't remember them, Tony Mamaluke, Too Cold Scorpio, Rob Van Dam, everybody's favorite wrestler, Luther Reigns, Kenzo Suzuki, Tajiri, Sean Waltman, Dan Severn's back, The Amazing Red.
Anybody that works for Ring of Honor, anybody that works for PWG, anybody that works for any of the SoCal feds out here, anybody that works on the East Coast feds back there. There's a plethora of guys that can be picked up for a fed ran by Hogan and based around Hogan. And you got guys like Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, Ted DiBiase that can run it, Ron Simmons and Al Snow that can be part of the training team and the creative team. You've got Nick Patrick, Jimmy Corderas, Tim White, a few of the referees that can referee that have the name value. The girls, you got Lacey Von Erich, Cherry, Chrissy Vane, Trinity, Shelly Martinez, Victoria, Sunny, any of these girls. You know, there's a plethora, as I mentioned, of people that can be picked up for a big third fed in this country that it'll work. So if the money's there and the people are there, Vince McMahon, WWE, and TNA, Jeff Jarrett and all them, can have competition. The competition is there for the taking. It really is. This is from Marcus. Do you think WCW would have went out of business if at some point during the late 90s they would have got a different time slot and weren't going head-to-head with the WWF? It depends when it happened. If they'd have done it late 98, they may have been okay. If they'd have gone to like Tuesdays or Wednesdays and just got rid of Thunder, they probably would have been okay. But the problem is they stuck it out to the bitter end through 99 and 2000 and the early part of 2001 when they were getting their ass kicked every single week. And they tried everything to fix it and nothing was doing it. The last time they won the battle was October 25th, I believe, 98, the night after Halloween Havoc. And that's only because they showed the main event of Halloween Havoc again because a lot of the cable companies didn't show it because the power went out, the cable went out, however it went across the eastern seaboard, however that went down. Hindsight is 20/20. It always is. If they'd have moved to a different night, who knows what could have happened. We still may be watching WCW today if they'd have moved to a different night. But I think that WCW was so improperly managed at that point that even a different time slot would not have saved them. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think they would have survived without better management, not just a better time slot. Let's see. From Michael Klepton, why is Kane no longer the man he was before? He loses a lot and he's never champion. He was just ECW champion last year. From WrestleMania until either the Great American Bash or Night of Champions. When he lost to Mark Henry. Night of Champions. The triple threat match. Mark Henry, Big Show, and Kane. Last year. And then Mark Henry lost to Matt Hardy, of course. Matt Hardy lost to Jack Swagger. Kane is very much a dominant force still. He's just not being pushed in that main event spot like he was for the better part of 10 years. Kane is going to be used to enhance other talent. Kane is going to be used to lose once in a while, win once in a while. Kane's not going to be this dominant monster that he was when he was beating everybody's ass. That's just not conducive to the environment he's in anymore. Kane's not going to be the dominant heel or the dominant face of a promotion. This is not going to happen. This is from Simon the Nightmare Knowles. What do you think of the British scene, and is it really on the radar at all over there? I'm English, also a trainee wrestler, and the scene here is on the up after almost being killed off in the 90s. It feels like a boom is coming. We've also produced some wrestlers who have done alright in America. Regal, Davey Boy, Dave Taylor, Doug Williams, Nigel McGuinness, and the likes. With TNA sniffing around a few more, the most famous being Nick Aldis, aka Brutus Magnus. It'd be cool to know how wrestling's seen in the USA. I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with your guys' wrestling over there. I am familiar with the guys you mentioned, though. Brutus Magnus is being, pushed in TNA to the moon, it looks like. And I really like Nigel McGuinness from Ring of Honor. I like Doug Williams. I saw him at PWG, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago? He's phenomenal. I like him a lot. And, the three main British guys that we've seen here in the WWE and WCW, Regal, Davey Boy, and Dave Taylor. Squire Dave Taylor, I remember that. And Lord Stevens / William Regal. Davey Boy's being the most famous, of course. Davey Boy, born in England, raised in Calgary. I believe raised in Calgary. Maybe raised over there, but he married a Calgary woman, Diana Hart. And he's famous for Stampede Wrestling and for being the WWF Intercontinental Champion and the World Tag Team Champion and the first ever European Champion. And only lost because, according to everybody else, the Clique pulled their bullshit. And he lost in front of his family. And was forced to job to Shawn Michaels. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I don't watch British wrestling. We don't get much British wrestling over here as far as I know. If it's on a satellite, I may pick it up. I don't have satellite. I have digital cable. I get the local wrestling pretty much. That's all I get. So if anybody wants to send me some tapes of the British style of wrestling, myspace.com/NoDQ Talk Wrestling. Or Talk Wrestling No DQ at yahoo.com. I know it's confusing. I did one, I did the other. I don't know why I did that. It just kind of happened that way. This is from Brian Culp. What do you think WWE should do with the GM situation? They have Teddy Long on ECW and Vicky Guerrero running both Raw and SmackDown. I personally think that Vicky is not good enough to be GM on both main shows, and Teddy is too good to be on ECW. What are your thoughts? Who could they bring in to replace or to add? Vicky does not deserve to be general manager of either show. I think if they put Teddy Long on SmackDown and anybody else on Raw. And bring Armando Estrada back. He was a good ECW GM. Or, bring Paulie back. Let him run ECW. Legitimately run ECW. Anybody would be better. The status quo of GMs is not good right now. You got Vicky running the two main shows, and Teddy Long running the C show. That's ridiculous. Teddy Long should be running either Raw or SmackDown. If you really want my opinion, Teddy Long should run Raw, Vicky should run SmackDown, and somebody else, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but somebody else should run ECW. A lot of people ask me about the Verne Gagne situation and what happened in the rest home that he lives in. I believe it's Omaha, Nebraska. Poor Mr. Gagne has Alzheimer's, and a fellow Alzheimer's patient in there. I guess they got into a scuffle and Verne hip-tossed him and broke the man's hip. And 3 weeks later, after coming home and looks like he was okay, I don't know why he died, but he died. The person that Gagne hip toss died. No charges have been filed or anything because neither man remembered the incident after it happened. Alzheimer's will do that to you. My great-grandfather died of Alzheimer's, so I know exactly how it works and what happened. It's very sad to see somebody who just 3 years ago was getting inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame alongside his son, has now been reduced to, headlines in the newspaper as a ha-ha, it's a funny. Verne Gagne was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time and one of the best promoters of all time. He ran the AWA for 31 years. Didn't get touched really until the early 80s when Vince McMahon Jr., Vincent K. McMahon, caught fire and really took the promotion national. He was the hottest ticket in town for the longest time. Him and Crockett both really gave, people something to watch. And Verne Gagne got a lot of guys. Their big start, Hogan and the Blackjacks. He trained Flair. All these guys you see on the Spectacular Legacy, the AWA DVD, which is a great DVD. I recommend it. All those guys got to start AWA. And it's sad that he has been reduced to, headline hero. It sucks. Robert Tabachi. Tabachi? Not sure. What got you into pro wrestling and what has made you stick with it? I've told this story on XMV and RSI and here on Talk Wrestling. I'll tell it again. The reason I got into professional wrestling, was back in October of 1990 at the after-school club. I was attending after school every day. And remember, this is October 1990. I was 7 years old. I was still in elementary school. I was, like I said, 7 years old. So that would have put me in second grade, I think. Let's see, 88, 89, 89, 90. Third grade. I was in... No. 89, 90. Yeah, third grade. That doesn't sound right. Oh, well. I was in second or third grade. Anyway. Yeah, second grade. Kindergarten, first, second. I forgot about first grade. I was in second grade. Anyway, and we had a show and tell thing, and one of the guys brought in one of those WCW figures that looked like this, that didn't have any flexibility. They just, they posed like this with the arms like this and the legs out like this, and it was a Lex Luger figure, believe it or not. Lex Luger is responsible for my getting into professional wrestling. Me meeting Aaron Rift and Mike Nagel and Josh Tariff and not necessarily Lee, because Lee would have been my friend anyway, because he was dating my friend's sister. But everybody else I've met involved wrestling, it's Lex Luger's fault, people. And as I mentioned before, I'm the only one, besides this guy, that has stuck with it for the last 18 years, almost 19 years. Just like the trash cans have stuck with Be Noisy on XMV 1 through 50. No. Actually, they've been pretty good the last few episodes. The 50, we had problems before we taped, but they were quiet after we started taping. 51, not so much. What's made me stick with it? I've been entertained by it. As much as wrestling has gone down in quality since the brand extension, I believe that it's still entertaining to watch. I watch all 4 shows every week, the 3 WWE shows and TNA. I actually found WXW or WEW on late at night. I understand that ESPN Classics runs the AWA and the UWF, which features Zoog Drift, UWF, managing the Warlord and eating Bob Orton's hat. There's a video clip on there on the YouTube Nerdy QCAW on there somewhere. Find that. That shit is funny, hilarious. Wrestling is like my mom watching soap operas or Jade watching the Sober House or the MTV shows. I get a kick out of it. I think they're hysterical. I think they're entertaining, and they have some sort of value to me. So that's why I watch. This one is a long one. It's from Michael Walsh. The reason it's long is because I know I said I wouldn't say anything about Noah today, but I changed my mind because this guy wrote me a long letter concerning Noah, and I wanted to talk about it. And I'll get to his question first, though. The current WWE roster, who would you pick to be your top stars right now who have not held a world title, who deserve to be a long-term main event champion in the next 5 years' time? CM Punk. Christian, as far as WWE world titles, I'm not talking world titles in general. CM Punk, Christian, Matt Hardy, not world titles. There's two more I gotta think of, huh? CM Punk. No, wait, Punk's been world champion. Forgot about that. He's Triple Crown champion at that. Alright. Shit. Christian, Matt Hardy. Those are the only two I really think deserve it out of the roster. Because if I could think of somebody else, they would deserve it. But I can't think of anybody else. They don't stick out to me. Christian and Matt Hardy both deserve it. Chris Perkowski, I think. I apologize if I fucked it up. Do you see WWE signing any of the 4 released TNA wrestlers? Petey Williams, Sanjay Dutt, Jimmy Rave, Lance Hoyt. I don't see any confirmation Jimmy Rave's been released. I keep hearing that, but I don't see, there's no official announcement, or he hasn't been taken off the roster. I know Lance Hoyt has, Lance Rock, or whatever you want to call him is, and Sanjay and Petey have. But I haven't seen any confirmation that Jimmy Rave is gone. But if he is, WWE may sign them to Florida and train themselves up, and maybe they'll appear on SmackDown. SmackDown seems to be the higher flying of the two shows, although Raw has Rey Mysterio. Or they may bring them in ECW and have them get their feet wet there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'd like to see them in WWE and get their opportunity, but I don't see it as a possibility because they're so TNA branded. Michael Walsh wrote the following letter as well. He watched Noah's first response to me, or the second response to me, and he said this. Okay, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Let me address a few things since every week you put up with Noah's bullshit. Number 1, he has no right addressing private things that happen in your life. It's a show on wrestling. He's a fucking scumbag for showing the audio footage about you, even if it is true. Scumbag, scumbag, scumbag. Number 2, I'd rather watch a match between David Arquette and the Fabulous Moolah than believe that load of bullshit he threw out about that underground garage stunt you 3 pulled and claiming he kicked your ass. Thank you! Yes, I mentioned this last show. Thank you. He looks like a fucking tool in a Charlie Brown sweater. He looks at Jason Sensation and China had a child that popped his premature ass. Wow. This is actually the first show I watched by him ever, and I could do a better job even with my handicap that I will address in a minute. If I had the money and the equipment, I'd put on a show and show this fuck how pathetic he really is. The comment he made of the speech impediment, because Noah, every time he talks about me, he goes, nah, see, here's the thing. When I said, now, see, here's the thing a few times, that's my gimmick now, I guess. I'm not an advocate of curing the condition, but I have a speech impediment, specifically a stutter. I'm a firm believer in the straight shoots again to the point, so I don't need to use my intellect to crush this pea-brain mentally. But I'm 6'5", 270. Just for that fucking comment, if I ever caught him in public, I'd break his fucking neck. MySpace.com/Irish Hulk is his MySpace. Anyway, you don't have to address this on your show. Just let that fuck know the Irish Hulk would snap his fucking spine like Sid broke his leg jumping off the top rope. As always, love your show, and I think you should address that phone call in that video on 51. Enjoy episode 50, and God bless your child and woman. Michael, thank you very much. That shit like that makes my day. I love reading stuff like that, even if it is, pretty much just, verbally tearing Noah Donish a new one. it still makes me feel good to know that you guys like me and you guys like the show and you guys like what I do and you firmly believe in my side of situations because generally I'm right. Next week on the show, predictions for the grand spectacle itself, WrestleMania, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. For now, I leave you with this thought. Good night.